Hello, everybody. This is Kelvin God again. I hope you all are getting ready to get closing up this class. But this week we have our requirement for our presentation on how to do something. What I've chosen to do is to teach everyone how to fill strip a Springfield XD40 subcompact handgun. And for my demonstration, I have my personally owned handgun. And what I'm going to do is teach you how to fill strip, prepare to clean. We're not going to go into the cleaning portion and how to reassemble an XD subcompact 40. I have 26 years military experience. I have various weapon systems that I've trained on, and this happens to be one of my personally owned weapons that I have along with several others, but I chose to use the handgun due to its ease of disassembly and reassembly. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, the first thing you want to do is ensure that your weapon is always pointed in a safe direction and the safety is engaged. However, with this weapon, it has two safeties. One is a palm safety located here on the trigger house, on the hand grip, and then within the trigger, there is a secondary safety right inside the trigger there, so that you must have both engaged in order to fire. But the first thing you want to do is clear your weapon before you begin to disassemble it. In order to do so, you have on both sides a magazine release button. So you push that in, the magazine will slide right out. Place that to the side. After you've got the magazine removed from the weapon, you want to ensure that the chamber is free of ammunition. So in order to do so, pull the charging handle to the rear, observe the chamber, ensure there's no rounds inside, release the slide back forward. I've ensured this weapon is clear and safe for disassembly at this point. So the next thing you want to do is move the slide to the rear, and you want to engage the slide lock, which is located right here. Is the slide lock. You slide that up after you slide the slide to the rear, and that will keep the slide locked to the back while you begin to place this into disassembly mode. In order to do that, you want to move the slide release tab, just rotate it up to the top. Oops, a little stiff. Rotate it up to the top and notice that it's now pointing straight up and down. And once you've done that, you want to release the slide to go back forward to its normal position. So I'm going to pull the slide locking tab down and let it slide back forward. Now the weapon appears to be back in its normal configuration, minus the fact that the bolt or the slide release tab is still facing up to the sky. And you'll also notice that the firing pin is protruding out of the rear of the weapon. Now, with this particular weapon, the manufacturer suggests that you now squeeze the trigger to release the firing pin in order to remove it, because it still appears to be locked in place and you can't move it. Well, you simply just engage both safeties, both the palm safety and the trigger safety. Then you hear a metallic click, and once you hear that, then you can just remove the slide right off the top of the weapon. Now you want to place your trigger housing and your lower assembly to the side, because we're not going to disassemble that any further. And now we're going to simply disassemble the slide mechanism, the bolt, the barrel, and the recoil, the spring. First off, to remove the spring, you simply apply a little pressure and pull up, and the spring will simply just come right out of place. Very easy to do. Place that to the side. And at this point, we're now going to remove the barrel, which by simply taking your middle finger of your left hand and lifting up, and remove the barrel. And that just leaves you with your slide. Now that's all 5 pieces. At this point, if you were choosing to go ahead and clean your weapon, you would do so at this time. You can use different types of cleaning solution, rag, brushes, barrel swab, little rags, or whatever you want to use. But you want to ensure that if you're going to do that, when you get ready to put it back together, you use just drops of oil on the metal pieces in order to ensure they're lubricated for use. Okay, so now we're going to get into the reassembly portion, which is a very easy task to reassemble. We're just going to put everything back together in the opposite order of what we just did to disassemble it. So first thing, you got the slide. First thing we're going to put back in is the barrel. In order to do so, just drop it into the barrel hole and then slide it right back and it'll lock into place. Once that's ready, you take your spring and you notice you've got a fat end and a more narrow end with the flat piece on top. You want to put the fat end of the spring into the spring lock and apply a little bit of pressure to collapse the spring down, and then it has a little dovetail that you would lock the spring into place. Once you've got that in place, you will simply just take your slide and put it back into place, and you want to move it all the way to the rear, and you want to lock the slide to the rear as such, just so that you would be able to flip down the slide lock. Now it's locked in place, and at this point we're going to release the slide lock, letting the slide go forward, and you'll see here still that the firing pin is still have a little bit hanging out of the back that lets you know that it's in the firing position. And once you've done that, you can either go ahead and insert your magazine, but what I do is I perform a function check at this point to ensure that my weapon is functioning properly. So I want to ensure that it's going to be able to fire with it already being charged. I engage both safeties, palm safety and trigger safety, and release it forward. You should see that firing pin fall forward, and you can no longer see it sticking out of the back of the slide. Okay, and then I will charge it, and I will only engage one safety, no metallic click. Okay, engage both safeties, metallic click. That lets me know that that is functioning. The safeties are actively working and doing their job. And then the last thing I'll do is I will take my magazine, insert it into the weapon, and when I've charged the handle, the slide all the way to the rear, it should automatically lock due to the fact that there is no ammunition inside the weapon. Without pushing up on the slide lock, I will just simply slide it to the rear and it locks. And that is my third safety check. So I know that my weapon is completely reassembled and it is now functioning properly and ready for use. And with that being said, that's the conclusion of this block of instruction. At this time, everyone or anyone who has this type of weapon, the Springfield XD Subcompact 40, should be able to disassemble and reassemble and perform the function check to ensure that their weapon is working and operating safely. Thank you.